Guy de Maupassant. At the bedside. A bright fire blazed in the hearth. On a Japanese table, 2 teacups stood opposite each other. Beside the sugar bowl and a decanter of rum, a freshly boiled kettle awaited its masters. Count de Salure tossed his top hat, gloves, and fur coat onto a chair, while the Countess, having slipped off her ball cloak, adjusted her hair before the mirror. She smiled tenderly at her reflection, fluffing the curls at her temples with the tips of her slender fingers, glittering with rings. Then she turned to the Count. He had been watching her for several moments with hesitation, as though some secret thought troubled his mind. At last, he spoke. "It seemed to me you were rather well attended this evening." She looked straight into his eyes, her gaze flaring with challenge and triumph. "I should hope so." With that, she seated herself at the table. He sat down opposite her and, breaking a brioche, continued. "And does it not strike you that this places me in a somewhat ridiculous position? Is this a scene of jealousy?" she asked. "Do you mean to reproach me?" "No, my dear. I merely say that Monsieur Burel allowed himself almost indecorous liberties. And I should have been angry if I had the right to be. Be honest, my friend. The truth is your mood has changed. A year ago, when I discovered your mistress, the one you adored, you cared not in the least whether anyone courted me. Then I told you it grieved me, told you, as you do me today, but with far greater justification. My friend, you compromise yourself with Madame de Servie, you wound me and placed me in a ridiculous position. And what was your answer? You made it very clear that I was free, that our marriage was an alliance of reasonable people, founded on mutual convenience, and that morality had nothing to do with it. Wasn't it so? You even hinted that your mistress was incomparably superior to me, more alluring, more womanly. You said so plainly, more womanly. To your credit, you expressed it delicately, with circumlocutions befitting a well-bred man, and accompanied by very flattering compliments. But I understood you perfectly. We then agreed to live together as strangers. Our child, that alone binds us. Moreover, I gathered that you demanded only decorum, and that, should I choose to take a lover, I might do so, provided the affair remained discreet. You spoke at length of feminine tact, of our skill in maintaining appearances, and the like. I understood everything, my friend. You were then passionately in love with Madame de Servie, and my wifely, lawful affection, no doubt, cramped you, limiting your freedom. Since then, we have lived apart. We go out together into society, return together home and then retire to separate rooms. But for the past month or 2 you have behaved like a jealous husband. What does it mean? My dear, I am not jealous at all. I only fear you might compromise yourself. You are young, lively, inconstant. Forgive me, but when it comes to inconstancy, I cannot compete with you. Please, cease your jesting. I speak to you as to a friend in whom I confide. And all you have said is greatly exaggerated. Exaggerated? Not at all. You yourself admitted you had an affair, and by that you gave me the right to act in kind. I did no such thing. Permit me. Do not interrupt. I did no such thing. I have no lover nor ever had one, as yet. I wait. I search, and do not find. I need a man brilliant, better than you. I am paying you a compliment, and you do not even notice. My dear, your jokes are ill-timed. I am not joking in the least. You spoke to me once of the 18th century, hinting you were a man of the Regency. I have forgotten nothing. And the day I choose to alter my way of life, you will, whatever you do you hear? You will, without even suspecting it, be hornied like so many others. Oh, How can you utter such words? Such words. Yet you yourself laughed to tears when Madame de Guise said that Monsieur de Servies resembled a cuckold who had lost his horns. What may pass for amusing in Madame de Guise's mouth becomes offensive when you say it. Not at all. It is only that you find the word cuckold amusing when it refers to Monsieur de Servies, and distasteful when it refers to yourself. All depends on the point of view. Besides, I insist on no particular word. I only wish to know, are you ripe? Ripe? For what? Why, to become one. When a man grows angry at the sound of that word, it means, he is ready. And in a month or two you will be the first to laugh if I speak of that adornment. For, you see, when it settles upon a man's brow, he never perceives it himself. This evening you have lost all decorum. I have never seen you thus. Yes, I am changed, for the worse. And that is your doing. Enough, my dear, let us be serious. I beg you, I implore you, do not again permit, as tonight, the outrageous liberties of Monsieur Burel. You are jealous. I told you so. No, not at all. But I will not be made ridiculous. Do you understand? I will not. And if ever again I see that gentleman speaking to you, almost brushing against your shoulders, or rather your bosom, evidently, he was only searching for a proper sounding board. I shall pull him by the ears. Have you, by chance, fallen in love with me again? Men have fallen in love with women far less beautiful than you. Ah, that explains it. For I have ceased to love you. The Count rose abruptly. He circled the tea-table and, as he passed his wife, hastily brushed his lips against her bare shoulder. She sprang up, looked him straight in the eyes, and said, I beg you, leave off this jesting. We are parted. Between us all is ended. Come, dearest, do not be angry. Of late I find you enchanting. So, I have achieved my aim. You too, find that I am ripe. I find you enchanting, my dear. Such hands you have, such a complexion, and those shoulders, which might equally please Monsieur Burel. You are merciless. Yet truly, I know no woman more alluring than you. Plainly, you are fasting. What? I said, you are fasting. What do you mean? When a man fasts, he grows hungry. And when he is hungry, he is ready to eat dishes that once seemed distasteful to him. I am precisely that dish which once you scorned, yet which you would gladly taste, tonight. Oh, Marguerite! Who has taught you to speak thus? You did. Remember, after your rupture with Madame de Servies you had, so far as I know, 4 mistresses. All 4 courtesans. And such adept artists in their profession are rare indeed. Tell me, then, what but a hungry diet can explain your present advances? Very well. I shall be frank, blunt, and speak outright. I have fallen in love with you again. Upon my honor, and deeply so. There it is. Indeed. And you would wish to begin all over again? Yes, madam. This very evening? Oh, Marguerite. There. You are shocked once more. Let us make an agreement, my dear. We are strangers to one another now, are we not? True, I am your wife, but a wife who has been granted full freedom. I had thought to form another attachment, but you ask me to give preference to you. I consent, but only for the same consideration. I do not understand. Very well, I shall explain. Tell me, am I as good as your courtesans? Be candid. You are 1,000 times better. Better than the very best among them? 1,000 times. I cannot recall. I ask, how much did you spend in 3 months upon the most beautiful of your mistresses, reckoning everything, money, jewels, dinners, suppers, the theatre, and the rest. In other words, what was the full cost of her maintenance? How should I know? You must know. Tell me, what is the average, the moderate price of such a woman? 5,000 francs a month. Is it not so? Yes, approximately. Then, my friend, give me at once 5,000 francs, and I shall belong to you for an entire month, beginning this very evening. You are mad. Indeed. Then good night. The Countess withdrew into her chamber. The bed was already prepared. A light perfume lingered in the air. The Count appeared on the threshold. What a delightful fragrance! Do you think so? Nothing has changed here. I still use the same perfume. Truly. A wonderfully pleasing scent. Perhaps. But I beg you, go, I am going to bed. Marguerite. Go. He crossed the threshold and sat down in an armchair. The Countess. Ah, indeed. Well then, so much the worse for you. She slowly slipped off her ball gown, baring her white shoulders still more. She raised her arms above her head to loosen her hair before the mirror, and beneath the foam of lace, in the opening of her black silk corset, something pink glimmered. The Count sprang up and moved towards her. The Countess. Do not approach, or I shall be angry. The Count clasped her passionately and tried to press his lips upon hers. Very well. Tell me, then, how much did the best of them cost you for 3 months? I do not remember. I ask you, how much did you spend in 3 months on the most beautiful of your mistresses, counting everything, cash, jewels, dinners, suppers, theatres, and the like? In other words, what was the full cost of her maintenance? How should I know? You must know. Tell me, what is the average, moderate price of such a woman? 5,000 francs a month. Correct. Yes, approximately. Then, my friend, give me 5,000 francs this very moment, and I shall belong to you for a whole month, beginning tonight. You are mad. Indeed. Then good night. The Countess withdrew to her chamber. The bed was already prepared. A faint perfume lingered in the air. The Count appeared on the threshold. What a delightful fragrance! Do you think so? Yet nothing here has changed. I still use the same perfume. Really? An astonishingly pleasant scent. Perhaps. But I beg you, leave me, I am going to bed. Marguerite. Go. He crossed the threshold and sat down in an armchair. The Countess. Ah, indeed. Well then, so much the worse for you. She slowly slipped off her ball gown, baring her white shoulders still more. Raising her arms above her head to loosen her hair before the mirror, she revealed, beneath the froth of lace, in the opening of her black silk corset, a glimpse of something pink. The Count rose abruptly and moved towards her. The Countess. Do not come closer, or I shall be angry. The Count clasped her passionately and tried to kiss her lips. She swiftly bent, seized from the table a glass of tooth elixir, and, without turning, flung it over her shoulder straight into her husband's face. He straightened up, dripping from head to foot, and muttered angrily, "What foolishness! Perhaps. But you know my terms, 5,000 francs. What nonsense! Why so? Why? Because it is absurd to pay one's own wife for the right to sleep with her. Oh, how vilely you put it. Perhaps. But I repeat, it is absurd to pay one's wife one's lawful wife. And yet it is far more unreasonable to pay courtesans when one has a lawful wife. So be it. But I will not be made ridiculous." The Countess sat down on the couch. She slowly removed her stockings, rolling them off like the skin of a serpent. Freed from its sheath of violet silk, her rosy foot emerged, the tiny sole pressing softly against the carpet. The Count drew nearer, speaking tenderly. "What strange notion has come into your head?" "Which one?" "To demand 5,000 francs of me. And is it not natural? We are strangers to one another, are we not? Yet you desire me. You cannot marry me, we are already married. Therefore, you must buy me. And, in all likelihood, at a lower price than a woman of the town. Think for yourself. This money, instead of going to some schemer who will squander it on trinkets, will remain in your house, in your family. Besides, what could be more amusing, more original for a clever man, than to pay his own wife? In illicit love men value only that which costs dear, very dear. And if you consent to value our love or our lawful love, as though it were an intrigue, you will give it a special worth, a savor of libertinage, the charm of the forbidden fruit. Am I not right?" She rose from the couch, almost unclothed, and moved toward her dressing room. "And now, sir, leave me. Otherwise I shall call the maid." The Count stood bewildered, dissatisfied. He gazed at his wife, then suddenly flung his wallet in her face. "There, take it, you wretch. Here are 6,000. But only." The Countess picked up the money, counted it carefully, and calmly asked, "Only what?" "Only, do not let this become a habit." She laughed, approached him, and with a sly smile said, 5,000 every month, sir. Otherwise I shall send you back to your courtesans. And if you are satisfied, I shall demand an increase."